What is good, rookies? Welcome to our final trade talk video. We're going to be talking about our captaincy options for this week, along with our trades that seem to be kind of final, dependent on team sheets. So we're going to jump right into it and review our trades. Now, I have been mentioning I'm not very confident about these trades this week, only because we have our last boost to use, and we can either save it for next week where we might have some bigger options for trading, just with price points on certain players, or we burn it this week and kind of stick to our trade plan of trying to get in Stewart. Now, Ollie, good old Clary, was not in our trade plans at all, but has finally found form, and I think is a pretty managed risk to bring in early. He's only 4.76, which is, if we look at the ceiling of this player, the way that Clary plays, how he played last season, there's a lot of value to be made if he is back, properly back. So kind of can't pass that up. We're at a stage where we need to be really looking at making some risky moves to a degree, manage risk to make some gain on the competition. So our trades this week, we're looking at Roberts to Ryan, which is a lock. We lock this in straight away. And then our two options were to really either go from Sexton down to Jones and take some cash into next week, and then give Stewart another week, give Heaney another week as well, because Heaney's definitely an option, give Zorko another week, and potentially start looking at some forward options, which is not part of the plan. We were going to be working from the top down, but having Clary really bring a 141 to the table has made it really hard not to pass on him this week, given the value we could be getting from him. Even if he does pop out 90s, I think for that caliber of player where we know his ceiling is very high, I don't think we can pass it up. So I think he's definitely made us kind of forced our hand a little bit to trade in. Given our current state of the team, we need to really be looking at making some risky moves. But with that said, we are dropping in the Darcy. We're trying to get the cash from Darcy to make this happen, which this is the part I'm unsure about. Purely because if we look at Western Bulldogs, they're versing Richmond this week on Saturday night. Now, Bont is definitely a safe option for VC or C. I don't think we can go wrong with that. It's just Darcy has one potential good points on field to provide and some more cash to make, which will help us moving forward. But at the cost, we're missing the value that we're going to get from Clary if we wait on Darcy. Howes, I'm not entirely sure. I don't think we're missing on too much value, so I'm very happy to trade out Howes this week. He's got Carlton. His break evens in the 40s, or just under. He's maybe got 10 or 20k to make, so I'm happy to cash him in a bit early after he's restarted his cash gen. But basically, where this leaves us for the following weeks is that if we stick to this, we bring in Ryan and Clary, and we ditch Howes and Darcy with some more cash to make. What does that look like next week? So Stewart has Port this week at home against a potentially a smaller Port team, which will be great for him. So we're missing out on that, which is not great. However, if Stewart does anything under 133, he'll lose money or stay in the same spot. So we're kind of hoping that he keeps his average of around 100 to 5, maybe 95 to 105, and drops in price, because that's purely what we're pinning against at this point. Stewart can 100% pop off and have a ceiling game. We've been waiting all season to have it. This could be the game that he does it, because he scored quite well against them previously. Just have a look. Yeah, like averaging, let's say 120, 125 against Port. Now, he could be feeling a bit rough still, coming off the concussion. There could be some management there. Who really knows? But we have to kind of play the budget game here at this point, because we want to make sure we're bringing in trade flow into the weeks following, leading into the buys. And I think this is the only real way that we do it without missing out on, the Seagull himself. Like we weren't aiming for him to be 6'4". We're hoping for him to be 6 or 6'10". So we're having to fork out more cash to bring him in, which has shifted our plans to have to go for a value pick in Clary versus going straight to Stewart. Now, I did look at the math of projections given recent scores and whatnot, and I have a feeling even if Clary only plays decent, for example, if he gets his projected score, he's going up 20k, which then means if Stewart plays his projected score, he loses about 16k. If Clary pops off and gets more, he's going to go up more by 25 to 30k. So we kind of can't afford to not get Clary this week. We can't afford to not get Stewart this week, as there's more chances his price will go down. We just miss out on that points on field. But hopefully Clary pulls it together for us. And yeah, I'm pretty confident with these trades. They will have to shift depending on team sheets. So team sheets this week and how it will change our trade plans is if Green's not playing, I'm not too fussed. That means we've got Clark, who's been playing pretty well. Yeah, and Clark will cover him and wear that. If he's out, it's only for 1 week. We're holding. We're not trading him out. That's ridiculous. If Sweet does not play because he's come down with the sickness, then we're looking at copping a donut potentially. Hopefully, in the instance where Sweet isn't named because he's sick, we're gonna hope that Sexton does get named and plays, or else we are forcing our hand to kind of play a donut. The other option here is if Sweet isn't named and Sexton isn't named, then we kind of miss out on Clary and we just kind of adjust. So that means we keep Darcy. Darcy will pretty much be swapped out for Sexton. Sexton will get traded out. Darcy will maintain. Because then that way, if Jackson has to swing into R2, Garcia can cover. But ideally, that's not what's happening. So hopefully, Sweet is taking his fucking Nurofen. He's a cold, whatever he needs to. Get some vitamin B and C, and I'm sure he's got an IV drip happening just to make sure he can play. Because Port aren't really in a spot to really be throwing out players that they need. But given the heat they copped with Rosie, they are 100% at chances to rest him because they don't want the clash back from the media again. So, yeah, our trades are looking a bit iffy. I'm not 100% confident, and this is probably the first round. I'm not feeling great. Anyway, captaincy and vice captaincy options this week. A real good safe one is probably Gorn into Bont. Gorn has done it relatively well against Carlton. He is still in good form. He obviously had a really big last half last week to really save his score. Does this happen again? I'm not entirely sure. I think he's definitely a safe option, but I think most people that VC Gorn will probably be leading into Bont for the captaincy anyway. So if that's the case, I think we can just be very, very happy and assume that Bont's going to get a good score regardless. So I think we fade Gorn as a VC option and we get Bont in as a VC option and Captain Dacos. Dacos has West Coast, which are like 15th, 16th in the comp of giving our points to mid defenders. So I think this is what we're going to be looking at for our VC and C options. But with that all said, guys, I'm going to leave it there. If there's any quick updates to these trade plans, I will usually just post them on TikTok just because it's more short form. So if you're not following me on TikTok, go ahead and do that. If you have been watching, please like and subscribe. It just helps me work out if you guys like the content I'm pushing out, if you like the frame of it. Obviously, we've got our trade targets below and we've got this new frame. Any suggestions, any conversations you want to be had, let me know. I'm keen to get amongst it and give more chances for you guys to reach out and we can talk Supercoach and talk Carnage and piss and moan about Bevo. So with that said, guys, I will leave you to it. Good luck leading into round 9. Hopefully your trade plans work. Let me know what they are as well. And we'll watch and see what happens this round. And I will see you guys in the next video for our round 9 review. Cheers.